Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And I am your interest cancellation expert, or ICE for short. And we actually use ICE as a verb, how to ICE your loans, how to ICE your mortgage, how to ICE your student loans, meaning interest cancellation eliminates mortgages, student loans, credit cards, car loans in about 7 years. Not each, altogether. Everything. Get rid of all of your debt in about 7 years. Understanding interest cancellation. Every other program out there has you focused in the wrong place. We are not paying attention to our interest consumption, and therefore that is the illusion of freedom. When you borrow money today, folks, when you borrowing money today, if you don't know how much interest you're consuming or how much interest you're paying each and every month, that is a problem. Because the banking system is oh man, how do we put this, folks? The banking system wants you to be focused in other areas like, what is your interest rate, and what are your banking relationships like, and what is your credit score, and how many credit cards do you have, and what is your utilization, and are you making more than the minimum payments, and did you get the very lowest interest rate you could on your mortgage, and if you couldn't get that low interest rate, did you have the opportunity to buy down the rate to get it to where you would like to have it? A low interest rate is a good interest rate. Is that what you've been told? Is that where you're focused? Well, I'm telling you, folks, that all of those choices is actually the illusion of choice, which leads to the illusion of freedom, thinking that we are where we need to be. When we don't understand how much interest we're paying, when you, as a consumer, get to the point where you're actually doing the math, that the average family pays 35 to 39% of their take-home pay on just interest alone. There's got to be something that we can do about that, and there is. We just need to learn how to read an amortization schedule, understand how the bank makes their money, learn the rules to the game, and then we can undo it. We can actually save money at the same rate we're being charged. But folks, let me get a drink of water here. If you don't know how much you're being charged, I mean in actual dollars and cents, we will make mistakes when it comes to dealing with debt all day long because we'll start listening to the financial experts. And that, my friends, that information coming from the financial experts, that is, I believe that the foundation of that information is manufactured by banking. Because banking has one job. They lend money. They lend us money for as long as they can, for as much as they can get, using a formula that we know nothing about. So let me put the formula on the screen, and then we're going to take a look at that, the amortization formula. Let me see here. Let me get my mic in the place where it needs to be. All right. So I got Kirk Nugent in the background here, folks, running things for me. And if you really want to see what's going on, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. And I'm going to share the screen before he tells me, Don, you're talking, but you're not sharing. So we need to go ahead and share this. All right, share the screen. And I want to do the entire screen. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to change. Let me change this over first before we broadcast it. All right, amortization formula. If you want to see this, go to YouTube and on a secondary device, and you'll be able to see this. Okay, amortization formula. There we go. And there it is. All right, let's bring it up now. All right, folks, if you want to see this thing, this is what the bank uses to amortize loans. It started in 1934, and they started amortizing loans this way so that we can get a payment we can afford, and so that we can purchase homes. Because prior to 1934, you could not get a 30-year loan on a mortgage. You could not. They didn't exist. What most people would have to do if they wanted to purchase a building or a home or a business, they would have to put between 50 and 80% down. They would get a 3 to 5 year term, and then they would pay interest only payments. Most of them pay interest only payments on that. And then at the end of that 3 to 5 year term, what will happen is that you would get a balloon payment. Now, you would either have to pay off that whole balloon payment, or you would just recast or reissue the loan for another 3 to 5 years, paying interest only payments. So how did this happen during the Franklin Delano Roosevelt brought in the New Deal? And this was part of it. Let's get Americans out of renting and paying just interest only on loans, which is another form of renting. And let's see how we can turn them into home buyers. And this formula is the way that they chose to do it. It gives you a payment you can afford, but the doggone payment is so expensive on what you're actually doing. What are you doing when you borrow money to purchase a business or a building or your home? What are you doing? You are creating equity. Equity is creating worth. When you owe something, that is the opposite of worth. Okay? As soon as you pay something off, or even partially pay something off, you have created worth or net worth. So what you're doing is you're purchasing equity. Equity is the difference between what the property is worth and how much you owe. And when you get a loan, what you're really doing is purchasing equity. So every time you make a payment, some money goes to principal, that's the money that you borrowed, and some money goes to interest. That interest is the cost of buying the equity. You thought maybe that the cost of buying the equity came from your job. No. It comes from purchasing equity. It comes from purchasing your house piece by piece using somebody else's money, and the cost is tremendous. Let me give you an idea of that cost. We're going to put in a $500,000 loan, and we're going to leave it at 6% because the interest rates are hovering between 6 and 7% still. All right. So let's put that on the screen. All right. Here's your payment. $2,997.75. This is for a person that can well afford this payment. Okay. And they owe $500,000, and let's say that that the house is worth $525,000 or $550,000. So if they owe $500,000 and the house is worth $550,000, then they have $50,000 in equity. Now, every single payment they make from now on, they're going to be adding to that $50,000 in equity. But we also have to pay attention to how much we are spending to get it. I need you to look at and understand your loans in a different way. So I'm scrolling down. If you want to see this, go to YouTube and you'll be able to see these numbers. So All right. So, hey, Remy, what's going on, man? I see you there. All right. So here's the numbers, folks. Here are the numbers. Okay. So when I'm making this payment, and this is what I mean by the illusion of freedom, because we get so lost in just making the payment and living our lives and just doing what we want to do. We're doing this comfortably. We're making this payment. This is not a struggle to make this payment. But when you see how much money goes to principal, $497.75. That's how much money went to principal. I see everybody here coming in on YouTube, on Facebook, on the different platforms, watching this, taking a look at these numbers. $497.75 to principal. Look at that amount goes to interest. $2,500. So you just purchased $497.75 worth of equity for $2,500. That is how we need to look at this. That is the illusion of freedom, where you're paying way more than you should to purchase that equity. Now, I want to get some feedback from you all. Anybody who wants to come to the stage and talk about this, just raise your hands. Let's talk. So here's what I need you to do. Also, start inviting some other people into the room, and we're going to start. Going to our house starting on Wednesday. So we're going to share the room and ping a few people in. So let's take some time out. Hit that little man there with the plus sign, and let's start pinging some people in. So I'm going to ping this person in, see if I can get them in here, and then I'm going to ping this person in, get her in here, so that they can see this. Let's see if we can get her in. All right. And let's start pinging some people in here. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. Pinging some people in now. Also sharing the room at the same time. All right. So let's get some folks in. All right. So watch this, folks. You need to understand what's really going on here in terms of, are we really free to do what we need to do? Good morning, Miss Crystal. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Listen, we're talking about the illusion of freedom right now. When people think that they're in a good shape financially, but because they don't know the rules of the game, they can get taken advantage of. And because you're in a unique position to see this, you're in a unique position to understand this because you close loans. And some of the loans you see now, because you're a professional, you will go through that and make sure that everybody understands what they're getting, and then make sure that every single piece of paper that needs to be signed is signed. But when you look at those numbers, what are some of the things you see when you see these numbers that these people are actually signing up for?
Well, it is um, the most vital information is going to be found on the closing disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an overview, of course, as you know, of the loan terms. So, how long the loan is for, their interest rate, the appraised value of their property, the loan amount, what that monthly principal and interest is, which is the fixed component of it. And then, if anything is in escrow, such as property taxes, homeowners insurance, or HOA dues. And then it also shows closing costs and any cash that's due from the borrowers for closing costs, or if it's a cash out and they're taking equity out of their home to consolidate debt or do home improvements, then it'll show the amount that they're personally receiving. And so, of course, lately the interest rates have been higher than they were in the pandemic years. Of course, that was an incentive to encourage borrowing, and it did. I saw a lot of people borrow money just because they had never seen the rates that low. But now people are feeling discouraged because the rates are higher, but they're not bad rates. It's still a really good interest rate for purchasing a home.
So now, when you see these, some of the things that the banks are doing to people, as far as what are you seeing in terms of the fees, in terms of getting into these loans, and maybe even buying down the rate? What are you seeing in terms of those things? And people really don't understand that all of this is part and parcel of what they're doing to get a payment they can afford, but they really don't understand the enormous fees that they're paying.
Correct. So every single lender, of course, is in the business of making money. They have fees, and certain fees are standard across the board, no matter what a lender, no matter what escrow company you close with. However, one thing I do see in pretty much every loan right now are going to be the points, where discount points they buy down upfront at closing so that they can achieve a lower rate. So for those people that are coming in, if they miss the 5% interest rate, that's what they had in their mind. That's what their heart is set on, getting a 5% interest rate. Well, their loan officer can make that happen for a set amount of money. And it, of course, the loan amount determines how much the points are going to be, how many you need to buy down to the number that you see as ideal. And that number has been pretty high. I've seen it as high as $22,000 lately. I don't
Wait a minute,
know.
wait a minute. Closing cost $22,000.
No discount points,
What? Just buying the
$22,000.
points?
Just buying the points. Their closing costs, I believe, were like 41,000
Oh,
with
come on,
property
Crystal,
tax.
Crystal.
Well, oh, listen, this was a situation. They were in dire need because I really had to analyze it because I'm not accustomed to seeing closing costs at 22,000 and certainly not at 41,000. But what I noticed is that this was a borrower who had been with that lender for a long time and had a good payment history, but they had poor credit due to the amount of debt that they had amassed, as well as um, most of those cards that they were consolidating were maxed out or had very high limits. And so, as a result of that, although their interest rate was high, even when they purchased those points to buy it down, it worked out in their mind to be a better deal monthly because they were getting rid of all those credit card payments. And as you and I both know, credit card interest rates average anywhere from probably 22% plus. And if you have multiple credit cards with those kind of interest rates and high balances, that can add up to be equal to a mortgage or more a month. So some people feel like they're paying two mortgages. And that's a sales strategy that the loan officers use to get people to buy down those points to get them to this interest rate. Because imagine if he didn't buy down those points, what that mortgage would be at that higher interest rate.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. So if I have this 6% loan that I have on here on my screen right now, Crystal, I have a 6% loan. And even if I could get it down to, let's say, I'm going to, let me see here. I'm going to open a new tab. All right. And we're going to duplicate this tab. All right. So I'm going to get this loan down to 4%. Let me say I can get it down to 4%. So I go from 6, I go to 4. They're going to charge me $22,000 to do that. I want to show you something here, folks, that the difference between the two loans, when you're looking at the overall cost of the loans, when you look at the long-term cost. So at the total interest paid at the 6% mark is $579,000, $579,190. Okay, I can pay 22,000 and get that thing down to what are they buying, about 2 points, 2.5 points? What are you saying, Crystal?
Oh gosh, no. That particular, I believe they bought, if I'm not mistaken, they bought like 8. I think it was 6. No, I'm sorry. I think it was about 6 points that they
So they
bought.
had a very high interest rate to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. Because they bought it down to, I think,
They brought it.
11,
They,
11.6, if I'm not
so
mistaken.
they brought it down to 11.
Yes.
So it was at 17.
Yes, because they had a
Wow.
490 credit score.
Wow. Okay, folks. I need you to take a look at this. I'm going to put this. Do you remember what the principal was? How much they were borrowing?
And I want to say it was about
All right,
200,000.
let's do that. Let's put in the
Mm-hmm.
200,000. Let's put in 17%. Okay? 200,000.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was like four. It was four. It was 474.
474. There we go. All
Yes,
right.
I looked.
474. All right, 474,000, 17%, 30 years. Look at the payment here, folks. $6,757.70. That's that payment. If you want to see this, if you're new to the room, go to YouTube and search Pill Method, and you can see this. So it's 474,000 at 17%. Here's the payment, $6,757.70. And they were trying to get it down to 11, right? So we're going to duplicate this tab, and then we're going to put another loan in at 11%. Now I'm guessing they would find it hard, excuse me, to pay the $6,000 a month, $6,700 a month. All right. So now we're going to get it down to $4,500 a month. All right. Now I need you to see what's going on with this loan, and you tell me, folks, if this makes sense for the bank to offer this. All right. These folks need this money. Obviously, they wouldn't be doing this at such high interest rates. 17%. Here's how that loan breaks down. I need you to see this. All right. Zoom in on this. Where 40, if they did this at 17%, $42.70 goes to principal. Crystal, $6,715 goes to interest on the very first payment. Folks, I need to hear from you in the chat. What do you think? What do you think about a loan where you're paying $42.70 to principal, where $6,000 in interest cost every starting out goes to interest? You're paying down the loan with $42 a month, $40 a month, $6,000 a month goes to purchase $42.70 worth of equity. That's what we're talking about today. The illusion of freedom. I can borrow money, but when I borrow money, I'm purchasing equity. Keep that in mind. You're purchasing equity when you're borrowing money. Now, how much equity are you purchasing? And how much does it cost? So now let's take a look at this new loan. All right. Now it's $474,000, Crystal, but it's at 11%. Payment is $4,514. Oh, it looks a little better. We have $169 going to principal and $4,345 going to interest. It is still cost a lot of money to buy $169 in principal in equity. The next month it gets a little better. You're buying $170.56 worth of equity, 170 instead of 169, but it still costs $4,343. So, Crystal, are these the kind of situations you see happening often?
Yes, on every single loan. And one thing I wanted to explain, because I realized I had to explain this a lot in the past week, because I realized that people are agreeing to this and not necessarily understanding it. So when we use language like discount point, what does that mean for people, especially someone who doesn't have a mortgage or never had a mortgage? They may not understand. So a discount point is going to be 1%. 1 point is equivalent to 1% of the loan amount. So for math's sake, if you have $100,000 loan, 1% of that is $1,000. So for every point that you wish to buy down, it's going to cost you $1,000. So if you wish to buy down 5 points, if you have a really high interest rate, then you're going to need to spend $5,000 in points alone just to buy that rate down. And that seems like a small amount of money over the life of the loan, because what they do is a comparison of, if you take the loan at this higher interest rate, this is what you'll end up paying over time, as opposed to, if you go ahead and pay us this fee up front, you'll end up saving this much, and this is what it'll cost you. Right, Mr. Don? That's a sales strategy.
Yeah, that is a sales
If they
strategy.
don't have the P.I.L.L method, then they would know that keeping that higher interest rate and saving themselves that $5,000 discount fee, and they can use that money in their loan coming back to them if they're doing a cash out, especially, they can use that to pay off the loan faster and save on the interest cost, which is what you're teaching today. But most people don't understand what a discount point is and how it works and what that means over time, as opposed to keeping whatever they qualify for.
Exactly, Crystal. So here's what this is: the illusion of freedom, the illusion that things are actually getting better because the bank is offering it. I want to show you the numbers. We're just going to do some simple math, some subtraction, and see, does it make sense for the bank to do this? Okay. So we're going to take a look at, here's what Crystal was talking about. I need to bring my calculator up on the screen. All right. And so that you guys can see that. So let's bring the calculator up. Boom, there it is. And we're taking a look at the very first loan. Okay. The very first one. Here's how much interest. Oh my goodness, Crystal. I know, being a professional, you have to look at this and stay unemotional. But I don't know how you do it. When you look at this loan like this, $474,000, and if they keep this loan for 30 years, they will pay back $1,958,000 interest on this loan. Just the interest alone is $1,958,000. Do you see, folks? Do you understand me when I'm saying that you think that you're free because you can now apply and get a loan? That is the illusion of freedom. But if you sign up for this loan, here's what the bank wants: $1,958,000. And so what they're going to offer you, is, well, you can pay $22,000 part of your closing costs and get a loan that's only going to cost you $1,151,000 in interest. Just the interest alone, even at 11% on a $474,000 loan. We're not talking about $1 million loan here, folks. We're talking about a loan of $474,000, and the interest cost, after I pay $22,000, the interest cost for 30 years is going to be $1,151,000. Crystal, how do you maintain your composure when you're seeing these numbers?
Well, sometimes I don't. It depends. I mean, I have to really use discernment in dealing with clients and having conversations with them, and they're being really honest. And if they're questioning what they've been told and they're trying to confirm with me, then I know that they really don't feel comfortable with the information they were giving. And they are. I've literally had people that, you remember the couple I called you in their closing, because they really had a lot of reservations about if they should even move forward. So in those instances, that's when I'll make a recommendation that they reach out to you. I heard about this service. I think it's pretty good. I know other people who've used it don't really share, any personal connections, because I still have a responsibility as a licensed officer of the state, to be a disinterested third party, because it doesn't benefit me either way. If the lender gets more money out of them, or if the borrower ends up saving more money, My responsibility is just to ensure that all of the laws have been followed, all of the standard conditions have been met, all the state requirements have been satisfied on both sides, and then I execute the closing. Of course, ensuring that the borrower signs and agrees. But if someone is really in distress and they're communicating to me that they don't think this makes sense, but they have this situation and they really need to get their finances under control, but they don't feel like this makes the most sense, then I go ahead and I make this recommendation to them. And has anybody contacted you and followed through? Because I don't follow up with them afterwards to see how it's going either.
Actually, I have talked to one or two, but and they may have taken some of that advice and followed it, but I don't know if they have. But they did not sign up as clients. They did not do that. I can tell you that much.
And I'm really surprised at that last couple who was going back and forth about the amount of the points because and I think one reason why they may have not signed up with you is because in going back to their loan officer is going to tell them, well, you can just refinance in 6 months or 3 months. And, so that's, of course, more fees for the loan officer, more fees they're going to
Exactly.
pay. But in their mind, well, their interest rate's going down. Their credit is better because they've consolidated and they've gotten that lower interest rate on all that debt that they were paying the high interest rate on with the credit cards. And so in their mind, that's a win situation, even if they come back and pay for more points and, more closing costs.
All right, folks. Here's one thing you want to share with your family and friends. You heard it here. Do not get educated on lending products and how loans work and how to put yourself in a better position from the person who is selling you the loan. That's not where you want to get your education. Guaranteed. Okay. On Wednesday of next week, we are going to be putting up, if God allows, this will be episode number 200 on Wednesday. Crystal, this is will be our 200th show. Today is show 198 of 2-hour shows, giving this information out so people can know they don't have to be taken advantage of by not knowing the rules. You can know the rules. 200 shows. And a lot of people are calling. They're saying thank you for putting this information out here. And Crystal, we appreciate you sharing what you're talking about as well. So, folks, let me show you something that doesn't make sense. All right, because if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars. Let me show you something what the bank is offering here. These folks need the money. Over 30 years on a $474,000 loan, they're telling them that the bank can make $1,958,000 in interest on this loan. Okay. If you look at the total interest paid, and Crystal, is this part of their information that on their disclosure documents, that when they see the interest rate, they can also see the total interest paid as a percentage of principal? And in this case would be 413.243%. Are they able to see that?
They are, but again, remember the closing disclosure is a document. Well, I don't think I said this. So the closing disclosure has to be signed by the borrower at least 24 hours prior to closing, which means their loan officer is supposed to review it with them. So I'm sure if a person asks a question about that, they get some really interesting explanation for what that means. And then they sell them on how we're going to circumvent that process. You won't ever have to see that amount if you do X, Y, and Z. Because I rarely have people come to closing and question that amount, but I certainly would. But I think they've already had that conversation with their loan officer because they know, when people see that number, it's going to raise some questions.
All right, folks. So here's what I need you to do. Everybody that's in here, this is going up on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. Share this show with your friends. And if they're on Clubhouse, you can share this as well, because this is being recorded. It's live. It's being recorded right now. So these types of things we need to know and understand. The illusion of freedom when we're being told one thing when it really doesn't make sense. Watch this. I'm going to put into the calculator how much the bank could make on this loan in 30 years. We're putting in $1,958,772. Okay. But what they told the folks is you don't have to pay that. Okay. $1 million. Watch this now. Watch this. I need you to see these numbers and you tell me if it makes sense. Here's the loan that they're getting offered. They pay $22,000 up front and they can get this loan instead. It's still a tremendous amount of money. But on $474,000, here's how much interest they can get if they get it down to 11%. Only $1,151,000. Thank you, David. David Hunt is here on watching us on YouTube, and he just shared it out on social. So folks, share this information out on your socials right now. All right. So people can see this. All right. So I'm going to subtract. So the bank says, give us $22,000. We'll give you this 11% interest rate. And then this overall cost would be $1,151,000. So we're going to subtract that. $1,151,043.60. That's the new loan. We're going to subtract that. Equals $807,728. $807,000. So this loan just became $807,000 cheaper. Crystal, now you have other businesses, okay? So if you had an opportunity to make an extra $800,000, would you discount your fees by $800,000 when all somebody had to do is give you $22,000 up front? Does it make financial sense for them to give you $22,000 and you're going to discount your fee by $807,000?
Absolutely not.
So folks, I need you to see, this is the illusion of freedom. The illusion of freedom is that you're thinking it's getting better. Why would a bank do this? They're only charging you $22,000 and they're going to lower their fee by $807,000. Why would a bank do that? I need you to put something in the chat today. I'll come up to the stage and ask some questions. This is what we mean by the illusion of freedom. I see, if you're new to the room and you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method, and you'll find this live and you'll be able to see the numbers. It doesn't make sense. So now they have a loan where the total interest paid as a percentage of principal is 413%. 400% more than they're lending out. That's how much interest it is. So here, this is the only place you can legally do this, is with lending, with mortgages here in the US, when you can borrow $474,000, and by the time you're through paying back the loan, you've paid back $2,432,772, and that's legal. That's legal in the United States. And do you know that people right now, that legislators are trying to pass laws against payday loans? Payday loans ain't got nothing on mortgages. I'm just telling you right now. Payday loans don't have a thing on mortgages because we don't understand them. The whole focus of this show is so that you can understand this, and I need your help in getting the information out. So, Crystal, I could stand by because we got some more questions for you. I need people to understand that they can be helpful in this situation, and it will benefit your family as well. I'm going to put my link at the top of the screen right now. Let's go ahead and put that up there. Pin my link. All right. So we're going to cancel that. And we're going to pin my link. There we go. ICE 10K.com. There it is. If you click on that link right now, if you're hearing something that is just appalling, if you're hearing something that people need to know and you want to share this information, then you can sign up to be an affiliate for free. Just click on this link. It takes 15 seconds to sign up as an affiliate for free and point people to these videos. We're going to have 200 shows come Wednesday up on YouTube where people can watch this and get this information. If you share this information with people and then you follow up with them, then you can click the second button on the right side and then you can refer them to us. Just put in their name, their number, their email address, and their zip code. Just put that information in and you put your name in as the referring agent because you took 15 seconds to sign up as to refer people to us. All right. And we will pay you $300 for every person that signs up with us. Now, there is a caveat. They have to have at least $100,000 in debt and a mortgage. At least $100,000 in debt and a mortgage. Okay. So if they have a mortgage and their total debt is $100,000 or more, then this client qualifies for you to get a $300 bonus for sending that person to us when they sign up to become a client. There you go. So do it today. Get some people in here. Start sharing this information out where we just showed you. I need to get some feedback from you guys. Does it make sense to you, for the people on the stage, does it make sense to you that a bank would only charge somebody $22,000 so that the bank can make $807,000 less? I need to hear from you right now. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to Crystal. Does it make sense to you? Put a yes or no if it makes sense to you. Yes or no in the chat right now. And if you're online, I've got several people here. So here's what I'm asking. The bank is charging $22,000. You have a 17% loan. You have a 17% loan. The bank is going to charge you $22,000 so that you can get an 11% loan. But by you getting the 11% loan, the bank itself will make $807,000 less. Does it make sense for the bank to make $807,000 less and they only charge $22,000? Let me ask it that way. So, Mac, do you want to keep that same answer? Do you want to put up a different answer? I'm talking about for the bank. Does it make sense for the bank to make $807,000 less because they charge a client $22,000 up front? Folks, I'm telling you, this makes no sense at all. Can I, based on the fact that we believe that we are free, that we are making, all right, Diana Garza says no. All right. Diana, she's watching us on YouTube right now. Diana, what part of the country are you from? I'd like to hear from you. I got some other folks here. Mac, I forgot where you're from. I see Shirley, you're making a comment. Where are you from? Okay. And Mitch, I see you're in here. Thank you for being here. And listen, folks, keep sharing this information out to people. Start pinging some other people in here so that they can hear this, and then share these videos and share this show on Clubhouse. Reshare it with people so that they can hear the replays. They need to know the illusion of freedom has to do with You think you're making things better when the bank offers you solutions. Let me show you something about high interest loans that will probably make no sense to you right now. Let's go back. I want to show you what's happening. What you need to understand, people, when it comes to these loans is that the interest that the bank is looking for is one thing. The interest you end up paying is another. When you control the principal payment, you control the loan. When an interest payments you skip don't matter. I need you to learn how to read these loans. Am I saying go out and get a 17% loan? No, I am not. What I am saying is if you can afford it and you've got a 17% loan because of the situation you're in, if you can afford it, then there's something you can do about it. You do not have to pay them like it says here. Just get $42 in equity each month while you're giving the bank over $6,000 in interest. Here's what you can do about it by learning how to read an amortization schedule. If you prepay, meaning if you give the bank money before it's due, you can kill interest that you don't have to pay. And here is how you can purchase some of your equity absolutely free. When you see this number, so when you see this, if you want to see what I'm doing, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method, and watch this. Okay, here we are. The very first month, $42.70 goes to principal, $6,715 goes to interest, Crystal. The next month, $43.30 goes to principal, $6,714.40 goes to interest. So here's what I'm asking. Once you make this payment, let's call it January, you make your January payment, the February principal payment is only $43.30. What if you gave the bank that $43.30 early, before February 1st? If you paid this, your payment, all right, your $6,000 payment in January, but you gave the bank that $43.30, that's on line 2, you gave that to them before February 1st, guess what happens? That money goes directly to principal. You're paid down to line 2 in January, and your next mortgage payment is on line 3. $43.30 just eliminated one line from your amortization schedule. And it saved you $6,714.40 in interest you do not have to pay. I'm teaching you right now the power of understanding how to read an amortization schedule. And folks, this is where the freedom really comes in. It is when you know the truth about how these loans work, and the truth makes you free, not the illusion of freedom that you're getting from the bank that the solutions they're offering you are getting you to the promised land. The solutions that they're offering you keep you in debt forever, because that's their goal. I need to rent my money to people for as much as I can get, for as long as I can keep them there. And let me tell you something. When you lower the interest rate, you actually make it harder to pay the loan off cheaper and faster. And everyone knows that. David says, ye shall know the truth. Preach, Pastor Don. That's what he said. David, listen, man. You need to hit me up, man. We need to talk. So, folks, listen, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to term this any better than I have right now. The illusion of freedom is actually slavery by another name. The illusion of freedom. In fact, I have I'm gonna look this up for you because I actually wrote an article on this a few years ago. The illusion of freedom. All right, let me see.
Mr. Dunn, while you're doing that, I
Yeah,
wanted to say something really quick.
go ahead.
So you mentioned about the payday loans
Hmm.
and how they're working to outlaw those. So payday loans are a big issue in certain communities, right?
Right,
They target a specific demographic and it's based on where those payday loan locations are located. There's been a lot of pushback. Even my pastor in my church has been on that campaign for a long time because they tried to open up several in the community where we're located. But mortgages are different, right? They're marketed massively around the entire country. The American dream is home ownership. If you don't own a home, you need to be working towards a home. And a lot of people have a mortgage. So people are conditioned to think this is just what you have to do in order to own a home, unless you have some, crazy inheritance or trust fund that you receive, which most people don't.
right.
But the average working American has been conditioned to believe they have to go out and get this mortgage. Now, if you haven't been responsible with your credit and you happen to qualify for one of the really high interest rates, you're the perfect candidate for this season because they're going to market to you on how you can still get that dream, but you can save money by doing some of the things that we have been talking about in the room. And that's massively marketed, and it's also in conversations every day amongst families and friends. So it's a whole different type of mindset being marketed as opposed to a payday loan. And the banks have been making billions of dollars for years on mortgages, so that part is not going to change. It's just the education that you're given today needs to be more massively marketed in order for people to at least make informed and educated decisions about the process.
And that's what we're doing now. We're actually doing that and marketing this out here through individuals. So if you as an individual want to share this information and get paid for it, that's one way of getting it out there. Word of mouth is powerful. Word of mouth is powerful. I'm going to put a link in the chat. All right. Here's a link in the chat for you guys. All right. And this is a free article for you. This will take you to an article that I wrote some years ago called the Illusion of Freedom. The Illusion of Freedom. We're going to also put that in. I'm also going to put that in. Let me see here. We're going to paste it here so people online can see it. All right. And I may even just go ahead and paste it to the top here as well, Crystal, and put this up here. The Illusion of Freedom. All right, let me see here. Something free for you guys, a little reading. All right. And we're going to change this link. All right, get that out, put this one in, paste it, and there we go. Update the link. All right, folks, there it is. All right, The Illusion of Freedom. If you click that link, it'll take you to an article on my website that I wrote some years ago. The Illusion of Freedom and what is really going on here. All right. And it starts out with saying that the P.I.L.L method exists to share with consumers the truth about how lending is committing financial violence by promoting a system whereby they are charging 75% more interest than they need to. Every person who works for a living has the right to know that the excessive amounts of interest they are paying to corporations could be used to benefit their families instead. So, folks, do you want to continue to be victims of where we have been conditioned to think one way, and we are actually complicit in our own victimization by not understanding how these loans work and how what we're getting is the illusion of freedom and not freedom itself. I like borrowing money, but I like borrowing money at a discount. I'm giving you an article right now that I wrote some years ago. It is probably more true now than when I wrote it, I don't know, about 10 years ago. Okay. We've been working on this thing for a long, long time. And I'm going to give you this article for free. Crystal, tell me, when you now know more about how loans really work, it seems to me that when you have opportunity, you actually enjoy sharing knowledge with people. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think that is? What is it about sharing information that helps people that causes us to do that? What do you think that is?
So for me personally, I know that a lot of people have only gotten information from what they've either heard from other people that they've had conversations with. Some people have gone to YouTube University or just information that has been collected over the years. So when you actually have someone who has taken the time, done in-depth research, and you've written a book about this, you've actually helped people implement this into their lives and gotten results. So it's a very different level of information being shared. So when you can come and say, I know all of these years you've been conditioned to believe this, you may have even had a few mortgages yourself, and now you understand that there's another way to do this. All I think most people are going to say is they wish they knew sooner, because I wish I knew sooner to be able to share this with people. I've been in this industry almost 6.5 years, and had I had this information to give to people even prior to the pandemic, that would have been game changing for them, because we're 6 years in and they would have already probably had their mortgage paid off, because you said this can be done in 7 to 10 years. They would be approaching the seventh year and almost probably free and clear.
You know, since you're right, since I've been doing this, I've had a lot of people look at this and just say, nah, that can't be true. And they stick with what they're doing. And 7 years later, they see that I'm still doing this. Not only am I still doing this, folks, if you stop right now and Google P.I.L.L method, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term P.I.L.L method? I'll tell you what it means to us. It means prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. That is the acronym. That's what the acronym stands for. But when you hear P.I.L.L method, what is the first thing that comes to mind? But when you Google P.I.L.L method, birth control or contraception is on page 2. P.I.L.L method takes up all of page 1 and half of page 2. Google it, put it in Bing or whatever it is. So what you're saying here, Crystal, is absolutely true, that even 7 years later, I've had people come up to me, people that I even go to church with, and they tell me, you know what? If I had done this when you told me to, when you first introduced it to me, I'd be out of debt now. Not only are they still in debt, they have more debt than when I met them 7 years prior. They could be out.
Oh,
Mortgages,
that has to hurt.
everything. Yeah. Yeah. And I've had people come to my house for dinner, and they've actually told me that because they know that's all I do. But they did not understand it from this point of view. They let the illusion of freedom get in the way because they didn't understand the truth of the matter. Folks, when you don't understand how all of the game is played, what the bank is doing to us through miseducation and uneducation, when we're not being educated, but the education that we are getting is taking us in the wrong way. If we're not getting educated on what they're really doing, we get so used to hearing that when you hear the truth, it sounds like a lie. The
But
truth.
why do you think that is, Mr. Down? Why do you think people are more prone to believe a stranger, aka the loan officer, who can actually benefit from them listening to the sales strategy, as opposed to a friend? If they're coming to your home to eat dinner, they're a friend. You should be a trusted resource, and you have a trusted resource sitting here giving you information that could literally change your life, save you money, get you out of debt sooner, and also free up your income to either invest elsewhere or save. Why aren't people listening to people who are supposed to be a friend and a trusted resource?
Well, Crystal, when you're talking about the illusion of freedom, that means you're being deceived somehow. And when you have a particularly effective way to deceive people, then that is more powerful in some people's mind than the people that they know. In fact, when you put things on a spiritual level, folks, being deceived is powerful because the worst deception, the most powerful deception is to believe that what you have been deceived on is actually true. And now you're even promoting the deception yourself. That is powerful. I've had people who are in the business of mortgages, in the business of real estate. I've taught this to, and they argue against it, even to their detriment and even to the detriment of their institutions, because they were so entrenched in the lie that the lie became the truth, and the truth sounds like the lie. But you know what? I can't give up. We've been doing this 17 years, and I won't give up. This is why I know I'm on the planet, to make sure people understand that the illusion of freedom is just that. Stop being deceived, get the truth, and I need you all that are listening to me right now, either live or on the replay, to share this out with other people. Okay? So you see that article, The Illusion of Freedom. Read it. And then when you read it, share it with others. When you share it with others, help them to know that there's a resource out there for them, a free resource on my YouTube channel, the P.I.L.L Method YouTube channel, that they can start getting this information and looking at numbers like this. I'm going to put some additional numbers on the screen so that so that we can understand what's going on here. So let me bring that up so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. All right. So we're going to continue talking about these numbers. All right. So we have at 17%, we got 17%. We got this number. And I want to show you something, how powerful this is, what you've just learned today. If this is a mortgage you can afford, we can teach you how to treat this. Now, here's another term, effective interest rate. The actual interest rate that you're given is the 17%. The effective interest rate has to do with how much interest you are actually paying. How much interest you are actually paying. So when you look at how much interest you actually pay to pay this thing off, and then you figure out, if I paid this little amount of interest, what would the interest rate have to have been to be able to do this? I can teach you how to treat this like a 3% loan. Yeah, it's 17%, but we can teach you how to treat it as if it were 3%. All right. So, Crystal, here's what I need everyone to see. David, I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing out there in the community, sharing sharing this. He says, My God, Don, that's the epitome of fear. False evidence appearing real. That's what he says on YouTube. So if you can see this, here's the truth of the matter. And the truth sounds, people become so incredulous when they hear the truth. They said, that can't be it. Yeah, it is. So, Crystal, when you ask me that, you know what? Sometimes I think about this, that when you get a loan like this, when it really means 413%, why are people questioning that? And, why aren't they questioning that when they see that their 17% really means 413%?
That's the real question, because I think people become more focused on how is this going to benefit you as opposed to how it's going to benefit them, but they don't analyze the bank in that same way. Well, how is this going to benefit the bank? Why would they give me this loan? Why would they do this for me? But they'll question you if you're proposing something that will help them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People ask me all the time, yeah, what do you charge, Don? What do you charge? They want to know what I charge before they find out what I can do for them. They just paid $22,000. They just paid $22,000 of their hard-earned money so the bank can charge them $1,151,000 on a $474,000 loan. And they're asking me what I'm going to charge to cut this by 75 to 80%. I'm going to cut this. I can cut this down to where they're only paying about $250,000 instead of the $1 million. And they want to know, what am I going to charge? Yeah, that is what happens, folks, when we get so entrenched in the lie. We will question the truth more than we're questioning what is happening to us. We become complicit in our own victimization and argue for it. Watch this. If we go back to this other loan here, even at 17%, I need you to look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Look at that. If you're new to the room, go to YouTube. You can see the numbers. Just share P.I.L.L method. All right. All right. I see Dejan Gibby here. She said that part. We must question outrageous parts of the contracts. You are so right, Dejan Gibby. You are so right. We must do that. So here, oh, there you go. Complicit in our own victimization. That's part of that article. So, folks, here's what I need you to see. After 1 year, you will pay this loan down by $554.27. That is how much equity you have bought in 1 year, because you're paying every month $40 payments to pay down this loan. But at the same time, every $40 payment, you're paying $6,000 in interest to get that $42 in equity. After 1 year, I need you all to see this. And if you can't see it, listen to it. After 1 year, I'm paying down this loan by $554.27. The bank will charge legally $80,538.13 in the first year on this loan. That's how much interest they will pay. $80,000 just to pay the loan down by $554.27. And people will question me on what I'm going to charge to save them that kind of money. Watch this. Just to give you an idea. If you already know that you can pay this loan down by $554.27, that gets you to line 12 on your amortization schedule. By paying it down by $554.27 gets you to line 12 on your amortization schedule. Why not make your very first payment and prepay the $554.27? I mean, do whatever you got to do to come up with an extra $554.27. Apply it to this loan on line one over and above your regular payment, and you'll be paid down to here in 1 month. 1 month. And because you did that, all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12 are eliminated. That is 11 $6,000 payments gone. You never have to pay. That's a total of, I need you to look at this now. I'm highlighting it. $73,830.28 in interest you just saved. Now, Crystal, I need to go back. And listen, I see Tweety just came in. I see Lamont just came in, and I don't remember seeing Tweety in here before, but Tweety, we're putting information up on YouTube right now so you can see the numbers. So if you have a secondary device that you can see these numbers, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method, P-I-L-L method, and you'll be able to see these numbers. So, Crystal, $22,000. If I pay the bank $22,000, I can get the 5% loan. No, from the 11%, I get from the 17%, I can get it down to 11%. But if I keep the 17% loan, I keep my $22,000 that I don't have to use to buy down the rate, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
But if I had that $22,000, could I now, because I know how to read this, could I now put the $22,000 on principal? Make my regular payment, take the $22,000 I would have used to for the closing costs. I take the $22,000 and apply it to this loan. I need you to watch cumulative principal and look and see what $22,000 will save me. Now, the bank wanted to say, oh, you're going to save $800,000 over 30 years. But $22,000, I'm going to scroll down here to $22,000. $22,000 on this loan knocks off 151 payments. 151 payments, Crystal, gone. And total interest saved, $991,805 in 1 month. Not $800,000 over 30 years, but in 1 month, if I take the $22,000 and not buy down the rate and put it on this loan, it knocks off 144 payments. That's over 12 years. That's over 12 years right there, knocked off. And total interest saved, $991,805.58. Folks, this is the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. Let us stop being victims of our own conditioning. We have been conditioned to do this year after year after year after year after year. We don't understand what is happening to us. Stop getting your education from people who are selling you loans. Stop it. Get your education here from the P.I.L.L method. And come to us. I need you now, Crystal, I need to share with folks this video of Dr. Eric Thomas talking about his relationship with the P.I.L.L method. And then I'm going to show everybody how they can get more information on how they can beat the bank at their own game after listening to Dr. Eric Thomas. Folks, we're going to be right back.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Folks, we have an AI system that does all of this math. AI, artificial intelligence, we have a cloud-based computing platform that we call the Opportunity Cost Calculator that looks at all of your income, all of your expenses, and says, if you just take your current budget and manage it this way, you'll be able to be out of debt in about 7 years. Dr. Eric Thomas says, listen, I'm out of debt and my wife feels so much better. All right. But he did it in such a way that he cut his interest cost by 50 to 75% on the loans that he already has. Why not learn more about this? So get your savings and earnings report today. I'm going to put my other link back up to the top of the screen. All right. ICE10K.com. All right. So ICE, ICE. All right. The number 10, the letter K.com, and click that link and get your savings and earnings report today. You can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free, and you get, along with the opportunity cost calculator, you also get this type of individualized education on how lending actually works and how you'll be able to put together better strategies for the future, whether you are a home buyer or real estate investor, so that you can understand this at a deeper level so you can make more money by investing. You can spend less money when you borrow. You are now borrowing money at a deep discount. By the time most of my clients get through paying back their loans, their effective interest rate is 1% or less. 1% or less. And Crystal, some people find that hard to believe. But what they should find it hard to believe is that at 17%, you're actually paying back nearly 500% on your money. Even at 3%, you're paying back 51% of what you borrowed. At 4%, you're paying back 71% of what you borrowed. At 5%, you're paying back 93% of what you borrowed. At 6%, you're paying back 115.838% of what you borrowed. And we're taught not to question that. We feel more comfortable doing that than paying 1% on our loans by using technology and education to learn how to beat the bank at their own game. Folks, get your savings and earnings report today, and also share this video with other people. Sign up to be a referral partner with us. All right. All right. Listen, did I just kick myself out of my own room?
I think he was sharing and clicked himself out of his own room. Nope, he's back.
Listen, Crystal, I got so excited.
Sedona, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I said you were sharing, you clicked yourself out of your own face.
Oh my gosh, Crystal. Oh, listen, folks. I just want the information to get out. I just want this so badly to get out. I just kicked my own self out of the room. Doggone it. So listen, folks, get this information. Let me go ahead and take a look at, because I clicked the wrong thing. Let's click that link. Let's go to the link and let's look at it. All right, let's look at it together. Become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. All right, click the link. Become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. All right. We also see you can on the next link. Let's see. down below, you can see refer family and friends. You see that? Refer family and friends. There you go. That would be right underneath become an affiliate. Once you do that, you can share this information and you just tell us how you want to get paid. When you refer somebody to us, we'll pay you $300 for doing that once they become a client. Okay? So I need your help. I need your help in getting the information out. So sign up. It takes 15 seconds to sign up for free to become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. And listen, jump on the bandwagon. Get involved with this. If you're watching this, even on the replays, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, get a savings and earnings report, and sign up to be an affiliate. Stop being a victim of our own inaction and the fact that we don't understand what's going on with these loans. And let me tell you something, folks, because you don't understand, it's not your fault. One more time, because you don't understand, it is not your fault that you don't understand. And here's why. What we're teaching here is not taught in schools. What you're learning here is not taught anywhere else. It's not even taught at the highest levels of education. This part right here is not taught. Because if you think about it, you never got this education. No one ever told you how a loan actually works. No one ever told you that you could save this kind of interest by knowing what to do with small amounts of money. Listen, here's a classic. We just gave classic where $500 could save you $80,000 in interest on that other loan. Do you know what kind of return that is on your money? Oh my goodness. It is tremendous. So I'm going to do that number for you in just a minute. But first, sign up to become a P.I.L.L, to get your savings and earnings report. And my staff will give you a call, confirm the information, and set up a consultation for you. And you will know the month, day, and year you could be debt free using technology that is based on artificial intelligence that takes a look at millions of ways you can pay back your loan and comes up each month with the one right thing to do to maximize your interest savings. It's not as easy as some people say it is. All you have to do is pay more. And then the first thought, here are two thoughts that keep people in debt. The first thought, you need more money to get out of debt. Not true. The second thought that keeps people in debt is cash is king. You need to hold on to your cash, and you need to have more money to get out of debt faster. No, you don't. What you need is to understand how this math works with the bank, how they are turning a 17% loan into a 500%, nearly 500%, okay? 413%. That's the math that we need to understand. We do all the math for you, and then we teach you this along the way. And then when you understand how they can turn it into 413%, I can show you how you can turn this into 3% when you look at how much interest you will actually pay back. 3% or less. 3% or less. You don't have to do that. Cash is not king, and you don't need more money to get out of debt. You just need to know how to pay less interest by using math as your advantage, not let math take advantage of you, because we're doing what the bankers have been taught to teach us. And then we take that information, because we've heard it for so many years. We take that information and we start preaching it as gospel. We have been deceived. And we further the deception by putting our stamp of approval on the deceptive practices. Folks, it's time out for that. It's time out for that. We don't have to do it this way. This is just the basics. You think this is powerful? Wait till you plug everything into an artificially intelligent cloud-based computing platform that does all this work for you, that guides you like GPS. This is like GPS for your money. On Sunday, we're going to spend a lot of time looking at different scenarios on how a GPS unit for your money that guides you, tells you how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, and which loan to apply that money to out of your current budget can get you out of debt in about 7 years. We're going to spend some time in the computing platform itself. Our AI, artificial intelligence for money. It is the only one on the planet. Everybody's talking about Chat GPT. Everybody's talking about that right now. Artificial intelligence. Folks, we have had artificial intelligence working on, and we're improving it every single year for the last 17 years. We've had artificial intelligence for your money for 17 years. And now everybody's talking about Chat GPT helping you to write your resume or to write a book. But let me, Crystal, guess what? There are several, going on right now. There are rooms going on right now on how to get loans. There's a room going on right now in the mortgage syndicate on how to get loans, on how to get business credit. Do you know there are several rooms that do this per week? Do you know how many rooms are dedicated to paying back that money at a discount? Only one on the entire app, this one. Out of 33 million titles on Amazon, on all sorts of subjects, there's only one book that talks about how to understand how loans work and how to beat the bank at their own game. Only one book out of 33 million. Out of 33 million books, one book, The P.I.L.L Method and a better way to eliminate debt. There's only one book. And David Hunt says the P.I.L.L Method has been using AI for a long time. There you go, David. For a long time, we've developed a program that beats the bank's program at their own game. You need to fight fire with fire. You cannot beat the bank at their own game using a dime store calculator and a pencil and paper. You just can't do it. You can save some money, but every dime you don't save, every dollar you don't save, every $100 you don't save, every $10,000 you don't save that you could have saved goes to the bank. And the way that we're being taught to save money actually makes more money for the bank long term. So folks, if you're tired of that, if you're tired of being deceived, if you're tired of that whole idea of the illusion of freedom being chained to your debt forever, 9 out of 10 people you know will never be out of debt because somebody is getting rich off in tears. Your working life, working 30 to 40 years, having a good time raising your family, going on vacation wherever you want to go on vacation, driving what you want to drive, living where you want to live, but you're never out of debt because that interest money, your job in this whole thing is to become an interest generating machine so that you can turn over that interest to the banks so that they can get richer. They lend you money forever. Don't you think it's time out for that? I need to get some people in here commenting, coming to the stage, or at least putting in the comments, Crystal, that it's time out for that. You don't need to do that anymore. Let's put the book on the screen. We're going to put the book on the screen so you guys can see that, because folks, we're almost out of here. We are almost out of here. We're going to be back here on Sunday, and we're going to talk about this information that you need to understand. That we're going to show you the AI system, the actual computing program you can ask questions about that actually does the math and says there are certain times of the year for you that you can use your money more efficiently to pay back these loans. The way that the bank does it is very inefficient. Here's what I mean by inefficiency. Okay? When you pay your loan, when you pay your money out, your hard-earned money, too much of your money does something you don't want it to do. You want your money to pay back your loan, when in fact, you're set up in a system where too much of your money does exactly what you don't want it to do. I'm going to do some math for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's go back. We're going to put our amortization schedule back on the screen. And if you're new to the room, go to YouTube so you can see these numbers and you'll see what I'm talking about, because this is an example of somebody who is in need of money because they had a low credit score. Some bank came up with the idea that you can get this loan at 17%. And there are loans out there like that. Okay. So in that very first payment, $42.70 goes to principal, $6,000 goes to interest. Here's your interest payment, $6,715. Let's bring up our calculator. I need to show you this. Okay. We're going to put 6,000. Here's our interest cost, $6,715. That is our interest cost. We're going to divide that by our total payment. All right, our total payment is $6,757.70. So if we divide that by $6,757.70, watch this. 99.3% of that payment goes to interest. 99.3. 99%. So here's what that really means. Out of every payment dollar, if you just break it down by the dollar, every dollar that goes towards this payment, 99 cents out of that dollar goes to the bank. 1 penny goes to the loan. 1 penny out of all those payment dollars, out of $6,757.70, out of all of that money, 1 penny for every dollar goes to the loan. 99 cents out of every dollar goes to interest. And that is legal. Folks, are you tired of that kind of thing going on? So if we understand what's happening, we can turn that around. We can turn that around. So for as little as $43.30, watch this, $43.30, we can turn that around and not pay any interest on that $43.30. All of that goes to principal. if we know what to do and when to do it. I'm just going to show you what would happen in 1 month. Just in 1 month, I'm going to invest $43.30 early in my mortgage, and I'm going to save $6,714.40 in interest I don't have to pay. When I invest 43, so what is my return on investment? If I invest 43 bucks, what is my return on that investment? Let's do the math. So I'm saving $6,714.40. I'm dividing it by $43.30. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me write this down. 1, 5, 5, 0, 6. We move the decimal point 2 places. Okay. That's 15,000% return on your money. 15,000% return on your money. When you invest $43.30 into this mortgage and you save $6,714 in interest you don't have to pay, that's a 15,000% return on your money. Where else are you going to get 15,000% return on your money, Credit Goddess? Where else?
I don't know where else. Nowhere. I don't know where anywhere.
I'm glad to see you in here this morning. So listen, we're going to be back in here Sunday. But Credit Goddess, good morning to you, and tell the folks who you are and what you do.
Of course, absolutely. Hey, everybody. Hey, Crystal. My name is Rosalore Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I am all things credit score improvement strategist. So not only do I help my clients repair their credit, but through education, I help them optimize and build their credit so that way they can be in the best position for funding, because I'm also a business credit coach, a NAV business loan broker. So I help entrepreneurs, whether you're a startup, whether you're a growing business looking to scale, employ, and reach more people. I have funding for that growth. So definitely tap into me for that. So any of you guys that are interested in my services, the number is in my bio where you can send your name and email address to, and that's 888-557-5778. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome. Hey, Credit Goddess, can I ask you a question? Rose?
Yes.
How many rooms, well, I'm not asking you really to count them, but are there a lot of rooms dedicated to helping people to improve credit and how to get loans?
Not a lot of room, just a few, handful.
A handful. There are a handful.
Yes.
How many rooms are dedicated to paying back that money at a discount?
Oh, I think it's only your room.
Out of all the rooms on this app.
Out of all the rooms.
So you haven't seen anybody else talking about it?
No.
Talk to us about that. How important is that people believe that paying back the money isn't as important as getting the money? We're going to do all sorts of things to learn how to keep our money through taxes and not paying taxes. And we're looking how to level up and get our credit profiles right so that we can get loans that are automatically approved. But nothing out there except for this room talks about how to pay the loans back at a discount. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Oh man. I don't know. I don't know why that's not, when it should be. I believe that we should all be educated from the start to the finish. And so that way we can have a goal, and it has to make sense as well. I would say money sense. It has to make sense. And I think a lot of times we focus so much on getting in instead of focusing on getting out. There's so many people that are in debt right now that are drowning in debt is because they thought about all the things that they want right now. So they got it, but then getting out of it, we didn't put a plan together, or we don't know the math. And this is why you do what you do every time we get on this app and all the other platforms that you present this information to, is how to get out of it, and then also save money at the same time while you're doing it. And we already know about your opposite. He teaches people how to get out of debt, but what you're talking about is preventative measures on how not to get to that point, but just understanding the journey on how to get out of it without having to have this negative connotations of credit and borrowing and things like that, because there's nothing wrong with it. That's the reason why I teach what I teach, is building those type of relationships, but don't abuse the relationship. But if you're going to abuse the relationship, or not, I wouldn't say if you're going to, but if you were not taught money management and also how to properly budget and get out of debt, what we talk about together, I think, is a great dynamic duo, is to help people understand, okay, get your credit together. You can access other people's money, but then apply your P.I.L.L method on how to get out of it, how to get out of that, and also save money. Like you said, get the money at a discount. Get the money at a discount. So I think us as a community, we need to bring all of this full circle. So those in the audience and those that are listening can set aside those fears and those doubts and fully get the picture of what Don is sharing with you guys. So that way you can focus on that generational wealth that we talk about. We talk about it, but a lot of us don't know what that looks like. So just coming in here and understanding that will put you in the best position to make sound decisions without delaying the wealth building strategies.
Well, folks, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and we're going to get set up for Sunday, where we're actually going to get in deeper and show you the not only strategies, but the AI system itself that does all of the math, that you're going to learn more about what it takes to get all of this done. All right. It takes thousands upon thousands of calculations to come up with the right amount of money to use and when. And here's why. All right. Here's why. Because every single dollar you have available, you need to apply it at the right time so you can maximize the amount of interest you can eliminate. If you can't maximize it, if you can't measure it, you can't maximize it. And here's what's going on. We have been taught not to measure how much interest we can save. We're looking at how much interest we're paying. We're looking at the interest rate, but we're not looking at how much interest we could save by investing our money in knowing how to pay the bank back without paying them all of that interest. I just showed you one example how you can take $43.30 and get a 15,000% return on your money in this particular loan I have on the screen. If you're new to the room, this screen I'm talking about is on YouTube. Go to your YouTube channel, search P.I.L.L method, and share this information. I'm going to come back. We're going to let our moderators give you one last word today about who they are and what they do. And I'm going to come back last and then just recap what we went over today and how we're going to be prepared for Sunday so that you can actually see an AI system, a GPS system for your money that does all of the math and then tells you exactly what to do and when, so that you can pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible for you on your current situation without having to make more money and without having to sacrifice your lifestyle. So, Crystal, if you are still here with us, could you please go ahead and tell the people who you are, what you do, and give us a last word?
Hello again, everyone. Hi, Rose. I heard you say hello. So I am in the great state of Texas. I am a licensed escrow officer as well as a closing agent. I also own a luxury travel agency, and I also own a marketing consulting firm where I specialize in strategic and experiential marketing. And the P.I.L.L method has been great in me further explaining options to clients. As I shared earlier, I come across people who have a lot of apprehension these days about if they should move forward. These are people who are in a lot of debt or have really high balances on credit cards, and they're wondering, does this make sense? And so the P.I.L.L method has a book on Amazon. It's number one. I have it. I've shared it with other people, and I also share this room. I try to get people to even get on on YouTube and see this actually demonstrated because it makes so much more sense. So thank you for allowing me to share in the space, and I hope that I was able to add some education value to how the mortgage process works for people.
Crystal,
And I'll see you on Sunday.
you have been phenomenal today in sharing this information on what people actually go through that you're seeing on a daily basis, because you're watching these people close these loans, and we can take these live examples and then show people what's really going on behind the scenes and how we can help people through your experiences. So I appreciate you so very much. Credit Goddess, Rose, go ahead and give us a last word on what you're up to these days.
Ooh, a lot, Don, a lot. You remember I said I was, this year I'm going to be focusing on being more in the community. So I've been called by my local city here, Boynton Beach, to come and teach financial literacy to high school and college students. So I've been busy putting that together. And then I have 2 other cities that are asking me to come and speak about financial literacy as well. So I've been busy with that. Also, I'm still in the works of launching the Black Women Get Funded To and the Black Men Get Funding To. That's going to be launched. I've actually put a date on it, even though I say I'm doing it, but I didn't put a date on it. Like I said, I tell people, put a date on it. So that way you have, that expiration date, that these are the things that you need to get done by this date. So I did. It's March 21st. Is the date. That's a Tuesday, which the group is going to be launched. If you guys are interested in that, in your respective gender, go to Facebook and type Black Men Get Funded To or Black Women Get Funded To and join the wait list. I'm currently getting all of the content ready together. And the challenges, so that way you guys can be in the best position for that. So it's going to be, action based. You have to put in the work. You're going to get the resources that you're going to need. Of course, it's free, but there are going to be some paid services or paid courses that you're going to need to get into, because those that pay attention. Hear that again. Those that pay attention. That will put you in a position to actually put in the work. So those are coming together. If you guys are interested, definitely join those groups. I will be opening those doors in March, and we're going to be putting contests together of who bringing the most business besties into the group. Of course, this is a community effort, not just myself, but a community effort. So that way we can reach more and more people. And Don, I would love for you to be there. This is where you will come in and talk about how to save on interest costs as well. So I have you on there. I'm going to need your picture and your bio and all that good stuff. And Crystal, wherever Crystal went, I would love for her to be a part of that. I did not know she has a marketing firm. But yes, all of the things to help you guys grow and scale your business. It's not just about getting the funding, but what you do with that funding as well. And marketing is really big. Marketing is so big. When you bring in those clientels that will pay for your services or buy your products, that increases your profits. This way you can hire people. You don't have to run the business on your own. You'll be able to have a budget where you can hire 2 superstars, 3 superstars, 10 superstars as you're growing and scaling. That's what it's all about. So employ your people, grow a successful business. If you have an exit strategy, because that's another thing. If you grow a business, have an exit strategy in mind. If you're going to sell it, you want to make sure that is a sustainable business that someone can just take over. It's all of these things that we have to think about. A lot of times, like you were just asking me about why people are not thinking about, saving money on interest costs and things like that. We focus so much on going in, but we don't focus on how to get out. or even the exit strategy. And that's a full plan, like, and for what you want to execute. So you have to know exactly going in, what do you expect? What are you planning for? And how is it going to go? We shouldn't be just going in and just willy-nilly with it. It has to be planned out. So those are all the things that I'm bringing to this community. And then tomorrow I have Cream Money Streams, where I talk about ways to bring in additional streams of income. I talk about 2 affiliate programs that you guys never heard of, and then how to make additional income. Don talks about how you guys can make income, just selling his product. And we should highlight your program too, Don. For anybody that wants to sell his program, I have a program. You guys can sell my credit services to others and make extra money on that. There's so many different ways to bring in additional income. And I always tell people, you got to believe in it, because you can't sell something that you don't believe in, because they're not going to believe you, so you have to be informed, educated on the product, so that way you can sell it. Right. So these are the things that we talk about. Even we show you how to build your own website. Queen was on there, showing you step by step on how to build your own website. So this is what I'm giving back to the community 2023 and beyond. I'm sharing my resources because it doesn't make sense to keep it to myself. I know a little about a lot. So if you guys join in, I hope that the information that I do share with you guys, you can take it and run with it and build something out of it. So definitely tap in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern in my house, Cream. If you're not part of it, tap on the link or on my picture and scroll down to Cream House and join. And yeah. Crystal, I said I wanted you to be a part of it. I didn't know you had a marketing firm, sis. I didn't know you had a marketing firm. I would love for you to be a part of the Black Women Get Funded too, but we'll talk. And yeah, I yield the mic. Thank you, Don.
You're so welcome, Credit Goddess. What time is that going to be again tomorrow?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Well, I appreciate the invitation, but I will be in church at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And
we can set up a time or another time. I already have 2 affiliate programs tomorrow.
Okay.
But we can set up another time.
Sounds good. Good. So yeah.
Right, awesome.
So Saturdays is the only day I don't work.
Oh.
So that's the point I was trying to make. But that's
okay, I got you.
That's where I will be tomorrow. But listen, I appreciate the invitation. I'm Credit Goddess, I know. Rose, I know that there's going to be other opportunities for us to work together.
Of course.
Because I believe in what you do, because I'm a client. Come on.
Yes, absolutely.
Come on. Oh, that reminds me. I got an issue for you to take care of. So let's talk. All right. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. Sunday, we're going to be right back here at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to go over on how we use artificial intelligence to combat what we've been conditioned to think and to believe about the lending process, and stop paying all of this interest to the banks. Take that money that you're paying to the banks and invest it in your own families and become millionaires with that money. Stop giving it to the bank and making them trillionaires with our money. That's the focus. So let's find out what to do. All right. We've got education and we've got technology, fintech. Look up the term fintech, 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 financial technology, artificial intelligence, guiding you to financial freedom, like financial GPS. There is nothing like it on the planet. And you heard Rose today. No other rooms on Clubhouse are dedicated to getting you out of debt. And even if you're on YouTube or other platforms, there's only one program dedicated to getting you out of debt using interest cancellation. Oh, optimize interest cancellation. There's so many different ways that they talk about getting out of debt, but all of those ways will cost you more interest than you need to pay, because they're not paying attention to the interest cost on each and every loan. That's a huge mistake. You need to know how to save interest. That's what gets you out of debt. We're going to be talking about that, more about that on Sunday. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my engineer, Kurt Nugent, who does a fantastic job. You need to go ahead and Google him, Kurt Nugent, and see what he's doing in this space on making sure that people can promote themselves, their business, their products by using social media this way, putting up live video so people can actually see what's going on with you. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal tool. Kurt Nugent is his name. So, folks, thank you so very much. We're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas one more time as we play our theme music to go out. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And I want to end with this. Make sure you get your savings and earnings report. That's number one. Make sure you get your savings and earnings report. I have a free report for you in the chat. So get that from the chat. It's in the chat. I'm going to put it online one more time so that you all can see it there. It is, and I wrote an article some time ago. So go ahead and get it from there. There it is. There, I'll put it in the article one more time. Go ahead and copy and paste that or click on it. That will take you through to the illusion of freedom. You need to read that. All right. Sign up. Use ice10k.com to sign up to become an affiliate for free. It takes 15 seconds. Become an affiliate, and then you'll see another button how you're able to share all this information with others. You can refer them to us using that button. And then when they become a client, we'll pay you $300 in the way that you've indicated. Also get my book, The P.I.L.L Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. It is the only book out of 33 million titles that talks about how all of this begins to work and how you can get the basics and the tools needed to beat the bank at their own game. And finally, click on the link above, ice10k.com, and get your savings and earnings report and know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you can save, and take those interest savings and invest them into your family's net worth so that your family bank can have over $1 million in it from monies you're not paying in interest. It is a phenomenal way to go. All right. So let's see. I got a text here. Sounds good, Crystal. I would love to hear what you're talking about. So, folks, this is going to be it. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, and I will be back with you on Sunday. See ya.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.